Welcome back, team. Today let's talk about what it's like to be a female in engineering. Let's get to it. Alright, so I want to start off with a disclaimer that although the experience itself is hard to say the least, the one good thing about being a female in engineering is that it's actually recognized as an issue, and therefore there are specific grants, scholarships, and so on and so forth for specifically females in engineering. So there's opportunity in that sense. However, with that said, like I mentioned, the experience itself is difficult. And so that's what I want to talk about, are the rumors that you've heard, are they true? Well, that's what I want to talk about. So there are 5 main things that I've experienced as a female in engineering so far with, having done 3 years of my engineering degree done and having done 3 internships, one specifically as a software developer, one as a general engineering student, and then the third one as a business analyst in a software consulting company. So they've always been in engineering environments, to say the least. So I'm basing what I say off of the experience I've had so far as a female in the engineering field. So the very first thing that I've noticed, regardless of if you have feminine or masculine energy, as long as you're a female, people for some reason think that you are a pushover. And when you don't budge from your stance, they will do what is necessary in their eyes to make you budge in a way that they would not do with men. Now, I've noticed this in my experience, and specifically when I talk about this, I think about one experience where at university in one of my classes, one of the guys wanted something. I essentially said no because I had it, and to get it, he pushed me. He literally shoved me, and I had to hold onto a table so that I could remain steady, and it was kind of like, what the heck type of moment. And I did report him. However, in that moment, I was just absolutely baffled that in this day and age, someone would feel that, that is okay to do. So that's what I'm referring to, people will think you're a pushover, and when you show that you're not, they will try to make you budge. Now, the second thing that I noticed as a female in engineering, and that is the more feminine you are, the more feminine energy that you have, the more people will think that you don't have what it takes. The more people will think that you're soft-spoken, or you can't fight your battles, or you're not worthy of being in engineering. It's just this stereotype or underlying assumption that I've noticed about people towards more feminine female engineers, and it's kind of disgusting in my personal opinion, because regardless of the type of energy people have, and regardless of if they dress up, put on makeup, or whatever, people should base their treatment of others on the other person's competence. Like, that is what makes an engineer, their competence, not their gender, not the way they dress, none of that. So that is another thing that absolutely baffles me, and I've noticed this a lot. Female in the engineering field that dress up, put on makeup, that have more feminine energy are just not taken as seriously, and that's disappointing, to say the least. Now, 3, females are just generally spoken to in a different way. Now, this may be in the best scenarios spoken to, lightly and softly, whereas with men, the same person would talk more strongly, more deeply, more straightforward. And in worse scenarios, that means speaking to a female condescendingly, in a degrading manner, in an unprofessional way, and so on and so forth. Females are just naturally spoken to in a different way. And like I've mentioned, on the scale of best scenario to worst scenario, it may be subtle or it may be obvious, but they are in general spoken to differently, regardless of how much feminine energy you have. This has happened to me personally, and which is where this comes from, is I've noticed this personally, is people will subtly talk to you differently than they talk to with men. And they may not do this consciously, this person might be an overall good person, it's just preconceived notions and the way people are raised. females are just spoken to differently, which I personally do not like, because like I said, you should be judged on your competence. Nothing else matters. Nothing else. Just because I'm a female doesn't mean that you need to speak to me more softly, doesn't mean you need to use more fluffy words, does not mean that you cannot trust me, which is where the condescending and unprofessional things come in from. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, for the amount of times I have been cut off in male-dominated meetings or settings, it's actually insane. And no, I don't even want to say male-dominated meetings. The amount of times I've been cut off by men, it's insane. And this has been specifically in engineering environments where, you know, it's a meeting for work, or it's a meeting for a school project, you know, something related to my engineering career. The amount of times I've been cut off, it actually drives me insane. And I personally have more masculine energy than feminine energy. And so I can't even imagine how other females feel that are more feminine. Like, it absolutely drives me nuts when people just cut off people and they don't even realize it. Like, it's like you weren't even saying anything, and it might be done in the most disregarding way, because this has been done to me when I am personally leading a meeting and I am the project manager of that project. I'm leading that meeting and a team member may just cut me off straight up, and they don't even realize it until I redirect the conversation back, because that is the most professional way to do it. You know, some people might directly call it out. However, my goal is usually to be productive, and oftentimes I just do not care enough about that person to say something. And wow, it got super bright super fast. Okay, lighting fixed. But that is the fourth thing I've observed as a female in engineering. You get cut off a lot. And so you need to specifically prepare yourself for the scenarios and understand how you personally want to deal with that, because it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not right. However, like I often say, it is reality, and we cannot reject reality. Now, 5, you often as a female will not get the same respect a male will. And this goes back to what I just said, you know, it's not right, but it's reality. And it's quite disappointing because, you know, relating back to some of my older experiences where I'm leading a project, or I'm the PM, or I'm in some sort of leadership position, and I directly ask someone to do something or ask them to go first for something or something like that, my lead is, you know, directly and obviously rejected. Like, no, we're gonna do this instead. Like, someone is trying to step over my toes kind of thing without any reason or explanation, in an extremely disrespectful and unprofessional manner. I've noticed this myself. I've noticed this very, very obviously in multiple different scenarios. And so, you know, not fun, not fun. So yeah, that's another tough one where you have to fight for the same respect that would just be naturally given to men, which is so soul-sucking. It's a soul-sucking process. And it leaves you so worn down sometimes where you're just like, are you serious? That's where you end up, like, are you serious? Now, those are the 5 main things I've noticed as a female in engineering, 5 real issues as a female in engineering that are not fun to deal with, but that is the reality of the engineering field currently. And, you know, men are not going to as strongly stick up for us, you know. The person who goes through it, you're the one who has to stick up for yourself. I like to think of the fact that no one will stick up for you. That's the assumption that you should go off of. Some people may, but the assumption you should go off of is no one is going to stick up for you. No one's coming to save you. If something's bothering you, address it. You know, do not take this behavior. Do not. The first time it's going to happen to you, you're probably going to be in shock and you're going to be like, what on earth? And you probably won't react the way or handle it the way that you want to. And that's just kind of the rite of passage. That's just how life is. You have to go through the experience once, but then you will understand what you want to happen in those scenarios, and you will understand how you will deal with those scenarios. Now, if you're interested, I can make videos on how to deal with these scenarios because I've been in them multiple times at this point. And you know, there's different ways, but I do want to mention that understand how you want to deal with these scenarios, because it's not right, and I personally do not think they should be tolerated. Do not take inappropriate behavior. I made a whole TikTok on this. As an aside, go follow me on TikTok if you're not already, but do not tolerate inappropriate behavior and call people out when they treat you this way, because it's just not right, and you deserve to only be judged for your competence. All right, a little bit of a serious chat this time around, but I'm gonna wrap it up right there and say that has been my experience as a female in engineering. I hope this has helped you with what you were searching for, because obviously you clicked on this video for kind of a so-and-so reality check, so to say, and I hope you got what you were looking for. So with that, until next time.